Welcome everyone to tonight's Highlander Inn virtual tasting. Before we get started, if you're like me, wondering where the Baba Yaga nickname came from, according to Ollie, a few people were saying that, like John Wick, Tatsuya never misses. So everyone at the Whiskey List being big John Wick fans, we absolutely ran with it because why not? But I'm very excited tonight to be joined by our special guest Tatsuya from the Highlander Inn. I think last time we had a virtual, I was excited to visit, and now I've been to the hotel and bar, and I can say it's well worth the trip. I just recommend going in summer because I nearly slipped in the snow and stacked it as soon as I stepped out of the hire car when I was there in winter. So yeah, definitely recommend being careful with the seasons. But yeah, so obviously Tetsuya selects all the whiskies bottled under the IB brand Highlander Inn. He's one of the most prominent figures in Scotland, and he also owns and operates the Highlander Inn Hotel. And I can barely believe he finds the time to sit down with us and share these drams. I'm very excited for this lineup, so I won't delay much longer. I'm just going to go through the tasting order verbally, so the people at home watching back have a heads up. So, whiskey number one is the 2025 annual release Glen Grant 17-year-old. Number two is the Maggie's Collection for Australia, the Glengarry 22-year-old. Whiskey number three is the Water of Life 23-year-old blended malt. Number four is the Oishii 43-year-old blend. Number five is the Highlander Inn for Chichibu in Chichibu. Glenfarclas 108 12-year-old. And then whiskey number six is the Highlander Inn and Chichibu series Secret Islay 6-year-old. So now that is out of the way, I will hand over to past Emma, who forgot to record this bit, and pack on into the whiskies. Enjoy. We are on whiskey number one, the Glen Grant, and I'll hand it over to Tatsuya to tell us about this whiskey, about brand, and everything involved there.
Hello, good day, yeah, my name is Tatsuya. I run the small hotel attached with small whiskey bar in Scotland, place called Garioch. Yeah, hope you enjoy next, I don't know, 60 minutes or maybe a little bit extra. Yeah, I don't know. At the moment, whole whiskey world industry slow down. Yeah, demand is no like 2, 3 years ago. So whiskey number one, maybe you don't want to listen too much talk. You guys thirsty. So whiskey number one is this one here. Annual single cask release 2024 Glen Grant. And this bottling we do only once a year. Yeah, started from 2001. And concept is once we bottle, divided 7, 8, possibly 9 ways, because we have an importer, 6, 7, 8 importer all over the world. So Australia is one of them. And normally this annual single cask release, this is our flagship. So we select cask very carefully. And the previous one is some of them 25 years old, some of them, I think oldest one we ever done, 36 years old, Glen Grant, 2006, if I'm correct. Very, very dark Glen Grant. So this Glen Grant 17 is youngest annual single cask release we ever done. Yeah, one before Ohen Toshan was 26 years old, also went to Australia. One before was Talibardin, 29 years old. So this is the youngest one. Because the current whiskey climate, whole world economy slow down, people don't have money. I have money, but other people don't have money. So trying to make bottle more affordable. Yeah. But again, I don't believe older whiskey taste nice. Younger whiskey taste not so nice. Age is not issue. So let's have a taste. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Many people say, "Oh wow, independent bottling Glen Grant is very unusual." I receive sample from broker quite often, maybe older than 17 years old, like 23, 25 years old stuff. However, I don't know the cask management of warehouse. I don't know who is responsible, distillery warehouseman or broker warehouseman. The many stuff I tasted, strength was something like a 42, 43 years old for the age 23, 24, 25. The strength shouldn't be that low. So if it's age 24, 25 years old, nice to hold the strength at least, I say 50, 51, 52%. To me, strength, the age, the low, is little bit tired. I taste it. Very subtle, but sometimes no enough flavor. This is 53.4. Again, for 17 years old, it's quite low. Strength is quite low. And this is, I'll tell you what, before I speak, maybe we should have a taste.
I think a lot of people like me have already delved right into it. I know I accidentally got some on my hands when I was pouring it out of my sample bottle, and my hands smell amazing. It's so like so fruity, that like really bright apple pear fruitiness.
Mm,
It's incredible. And yeah, Brendan said lots of apples and it drinks so well. Patrick, floral and fruity. It's yeah. I'm curious to see what your kind of tasting notes are on it, Tetsuya.
And this one here, when I tasted, wow, 17 years old, 53.4. Wow, enough flavor, good flavor. So I thought this is second refill cask because still I can taste quite a lot of flavor, maybe bit of everything. Not like some flavor is extremely demanding. Not like extremely fruity. It's not extremely sweet. It's not extremely other stuff. I think this Glen Grant 17, it's bit of everything, bit of vanilla, bit of citrus, bit of honey, coconut, all sort of bit creating character of this Glen Grant 17. So I thought this is second refill, but spoke to broker, they told me this is third refill. So being used twice before mature this Glen Grant. People talk about first fill, second refill, sometimes third refill, and people don't talk after that. People never say, oh, this is fourth refill, fifth refill. However, fresh cask, first fill is dead straight, no doubt. No one used before fresh cask, first fill, same things. But second refill or possibly third refill, people use the word, people say, but no many people know. 99% of people don't know how long they used for first maturation and also how long they used for second maturation. So if it's third refill, let's say first maturation, they only used 5 years, and the second refill maturation, again, they only used 5 years. They only used 10 years. I don't know statistic, I don't know the whole history, truth, but this third refill grain brand surely taste doesn't like third refill whiskey I normally taste. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, people are loving it. Scott says it's super interesting. Great grape transitions, lovely from apples into like light mineralic note. I definitely get that
Yeah,
kind of salt lick, like at the end. Michael says green apples, grassy floral heather,
yeah.
shortbread, well balanced, beautifully vibrant. Brendan says it not sure it takes water that well and prefers it without water. Yeah, probably wouldn't for me.
Right.
But what you were saying as well about that refill is so interesting, and it's so bang on because we talk about like, oh, second fill, third fill as if it's tired and exhausted already, but this is such a this is clearly in such a vibrant cask, and it gave it so much incredible flavor. I will say when I was over there in Scotland, I was at Oban Distillery, and they have a distillery exclusive, and they're like, yeah, it's only matured in fourth and fifth fill casks, and it's 11 years old.
Wow.
And I was like, oh no.
Wow.
Um, you could definitely taste that there wasn't a lot of cask influence on it. And some people liked it. I wasn't a fan. I was like, the core for Oban wasn't what I was looking for in a fourth or fifth fill. But yeah, it's really interesting to see how like different scales. I wonder why they decided, yeah, this is a good idea.
I think I do like second refill cask. We will taste today, later on, first fill, Glenfarclas or stuff like that. And current bottling, we do quite many fresh cask, fresh sherry, young fresh sherry. But my style is normally style like this, second refill, including sherry, bourbon, both. So if it's fast fill cask, maybe the cask flavor is too demanding. So quite difficult to see distillery character. So if you buy bog standard Glen Grant 10 years old, or maybe used to be available non-age statement, that kind of Glen Grant, compared with this Glen Grant 17, has got a lot of similarity. Light cream, but also kind of clear spirit character. Must be something to do is during distillation, they have a purifier, which is, I don't know how many distillery in Scotland nowadays has, maybe 3 or 4 left, which is emphasize cleanness of the spirits. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
Well,
good.
so good. Well, speaking of spirit character that I love, we'll move on to whiskey number two. This is probably one of my favorite whiskies in independent bottlings. I pretty much see the words Glengarry and I'm like, yes, thank you, I will take 10.
Right.
And I think that that's what Chris did when this came across the bar at when they were visiting last year in November. I think I remember him sending a photo and being like, this is amazing. And I was like, okay, I believe you. So tell us a bit about this
I
one.
Yeah, Chris tasted last November. He came to Kregerahi, and I was offered this cask, Glengiri, 22 years old, maybe 21 years old that time, and a lot of things make sense, like shipment cost all the way from Scotland to Australia, cheap whiskey, or let's say relatively younger whiskey is cheaper, older whiskey is more expensive. The shipping cost, cheap whiskey, expensive whiskey, same cost. Yeah, same weight anyway. So he specifically asked me age wise, maybe age around 20 years old, something like a whiskey we will taste later on, water of life, that kind of style, that kind of price range. So I just offer this Glen Grant and I tasted, wow. And he came over here last November. Is there any chance I can taste sample of Glen Erie? So I managed to get sample and he said, wow, yeah. And we have, obviously, we taste, we select whiskey stuff I like, but not always up to me. I need to see the market, current market, on also individual market. Japanese market and market in Taiwan is slightly different. So, what I was going to say, yeah, we select cask. I select cask I like, but also we have a very dedicated tasting panel team. So bar manager Billy and cask buyer is in Well, suppose I pay the cost, so I'm in charge. But Keisuke, another Japanese guy, he's got a lot of knowledge and a very good palate. So normally, three of us, we select a cask together. And to be honest, me, Keisuke, we got a lot of similarity. And Billy, we have similarity, but when he tastes whiskey, he said, nah, I'm not keen this. But I know, Tatsuya, you like style like that. But actually, this Glen all three of us said, wow, including Billy. So let's taste.
Yeah, so cool. From the nose, I immediately got like passion fruit curd and like those really kind of, I mean, the last one was creamy, but this one is creamy in a citrusy way almost.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's a good example of aged Glen. We have bottled young Glen 2, 3 years ago for Japan. I do like young Glen, but not all of them. Young Glen can be, if it's cask sample, can be harsh, maybe using no right cask, or possibly need another couple years to mature, live in a warehouse. Yeah. What do you think of, guys, this one?
All right, we've got Patrick says it's slightly oily and more than slightly enjoyable mouthfeel. Michael
Mm-hmm.
K agrees
Mm-hmm.
with me on the passion fruit. Chrissy also is getting passion fruit. Yeah, creamy, full, and slightly dry. Patrick loves it. He's getting like mango chutney, still that tropical kind of vibe, mango chutney and a slight
Mm-hmm.
dusting of like
Mm-hmm.
cinnamon and sugar. It's beautiful. It's very different to a lot of the like is this a refill cask, yeah?
This is a refill hogshead, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I talked earlier, we don't know how long they been used first fill. And dead honest with you, some story behind this bottling. When I got this sample, I thought, wow, very subtle, refined, and also complex. And when I tasted this actual bottle after bottled, I thought, wow, everything slightly more flavor. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I prefer sample bottle. I think the reason
Um,
why, when I got sample, I tasted the sample bottle. Maybe the broker gave to me sample he took maybe 6 months ago. And I thought, wow, this is great. So I take it. Then took maybe 3, 4, 5 months to bottle, maybe 3, 4 months to bottle. So since the liquid I tasted, since they've got sample until physically bottle this one, took maybe 8, 9 months, or could be 10 months. I don't know when he took the sample I tasted. So those 9, 10 months makes big difference. This is nice whiskey, but sample I tasted and Chris tasted. That's more subtle, less sweetness, less fruits, everything less. Maybe you can imagine.
yeah, because I was gonna say I've tried a lot of like refill Glengarries that are 21 years old and they're just like still really fresh and bright and like they lean on that more citrus floral kind of freshness to them, but this
Mm-hmm.
has this like lovely kind of rock melon rock candy
Uh-huh.
vibe to it that
Yeah.
yeah, I look, I think it's a phenomenal whiskey either way. Oh, it would have been great to be able to try the one you
I
guys
don't
tried
know.
as well, but yeah.
I don't know. This is good news or bad news. I visited the Glengarry distillery 2 years ago, and under Suntory management, they are doing big refurbishment, including replacing pot still. Yeah, replacing
Mm.
pot still. So it used to be Glengarry pot still is reasonably big, and line arm goes to almost parallel, or goes to maybe slightly goes to normally line arm goes to decline this way, but parallel or almost goes to up to the condenser. But they replaced the pot still 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and changed to very small pot still. And the line arm goes to just like this, like a Lagavulin or rest of the distillery. So future character of Glengarry will be changed massively. Taste
Yeah.
won't be same. Yeah. Even they stopped doing their own flour malting middle of 90s, just after Suntory took over. So sometime still those middle of 90s Glengarry is available, not as a cask, as a bottle. I wish I can buy the kind of cask, but those bottle, those liquid, slightly smokier. So it reminds me sort of taste of old broader. So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
very
because
good. Yeah.
I know that during back when they were owned by Morrison Bamore,
Mhm.
they were running their I think they were utilizing the excess heat or something to power a tomato greenhouse.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so those like 70s and 80s Glengarrys are like weirdly earthy and a little bit smoky as well. But
yeah.
that's so I mean look, it's a bit devastating, like John says in the comments. My thoughts exactly, buy up now. Buy as much Glengarry as you can get your hands on now. But yeah, that's super interesting. And was there a choice behind going smaller? Was it like obviously, who
I
knows
think
what they're doing, but
I believe I used to work for Suntory, and they're the company. Obviously, business they need to make money, revenue, profit, everything so important. However, they are actually focusing quality, not volume. Yeah. So seems like a Yamazaki, for instance, 1980s, they changed the pot still from big one to small one. Some production staff, they told me they didn't like it. They couldn't see reason why. But not volume, not quantity. They focusing quality just now. Same with
mm,
Hakushu still used to be six gigantic still, six pairs. Now they kept those two gigantic one, original one they kept, and the four of them they replaced to small one. So yeah, as I want to do, not focus to volume or quantity, focus to quality.
mm.
Yeah.
Well, it will be interesting to see. Uh, yeah, definitely. And yeah, in the future years, see how it affects it. Um, yeah, John said quality is what we want. I'm deep down, I'm an old boy at heart, and I don't want anything to change. I want it to all stay the same. So, um, speaking of being a bit of an old boy at heart, I'm very excited for whiskey number three.
Yeah.
And the blended malts that you do are absolutely phenomenal. I am a massive fan of blended whiskey, blended malt whiskey. I think it's such an art and a craft to it. So,
Yeah.
and I think this is an old one, old release possibly.
That's I think we did during a still pandemic back into
Mm.
2020 or something. Hotels shut down. We couldn't serve fish and chips or beer. So still I need to make some money. So I focused to see a bottling department. Maybe those during a lockdown. I need to make some money to pay staff. Yeah. So the bottling, the water of life, I don't have with me. I only have a one bottle left, which is I left in a display cabinet. I'm quite amazed you guys still have. Is that still available to purchase? Surely all
No,
sold
it's
out.
it's it's not. And as far as I'm aware, there was one bottle lurking around the warehouse, and it's a miracle that
Oh,
Chris didn't snaffle it to take it home for himself. We probably had to wrest
okay,
it out of his hands to divvy it up for tonight. But
okay.
yeah, we do sometimes keep a bottle of something. Oh, apparently David sacrificed his, so Chris didn't have to sacrifice his bottle. Yeah, we do always try and keep like one bottle floating around for like
Right.
future events like this. And I know
Okay.
I've certainly got a few archival pieces that maybe one day I'll find the emotional energy to part with them for a tasting,
Okay.
but yeah, they kick around for a little bit. So mm.
Okay. So whiskey number three, Water of Life, like a first whiskey and second whiskey, totally very different flavor, but has got some similarity. I picked up from both whiskey type of style of character of like a lemongrass kind of style. And both I can say little bit grassy, but whiskey number three, Water of Life, far as I remember, very light, but also taste of like a stone fruit, like a peach or almost like an apricot type of character. Yeah. Or you guys drinking, so you tell me.
Well, I know that Brendan said musk sticks on the nose. I definitely get that kind of like pink, soft, musky. I don't know what the flavor of musk is. I think it's like a soft vanilla raspberry type thing, but yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
And this is a blended malt and actually whiskey called Oldney. Oldney. I can't remember how to spell. Oldney. I need to pen and paper. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Uh,
Auduine.
yeah,
Oh,
possibly, yeah.
Dunie, something like
That's actually vatting of Glenfiddich, Alveny, and Kinningy. Yeah, and unique things about I didn't blend myself. That's William Grant. Those three malt vatting together from birth, from new make spirits, and they put back to the cask or they fill the cask. Blend those three new make spirits first. I don't know the ratio. I believe quite large portion of Glenfiddich and Balvenie because that time Kinningy I don't know. I don't know the ratio. Some people say Alderney is 90 odd percent high proportion of Kininvi and a bit of Glenfiddich and Balvenie inside. But to me, I have tasted Kininvi, those small bottles they did mega expensive stuff. 23 years old, they did a couple of times, then switched to 1917 travel exclusive. But those meant to be exclusive single cask or single malt, to me, taste nothing. Yeah. No wonder why William Grant didn't release Kininby earlier, because if it's nice liquid, they could release maybe 10 years old, 15 years old. They didn't need to wait 23 years to release first single malt. So to me, taste of this Water of Life, more like a Glenfiddich and Balvenie style. Yeah.
yeah, it's
And
definitely. I think it's got a maltiness that I do find in maybe I haven't had one in a long time. I actually have a bottle of a 1992 23-year-old
uh-huh.
walking around
Oh,
my
the
house somewhere.
Kininvi.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. The wee bottle.
The smaller bottle.
Yeah.
I think it's like yeah,
Mm.
500 mils or something
Yeah.
like that.
350.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
something crazy. But
That's
yeah.
nice whiskey. It's really nice whiskey. Tastes fine.
Mm.
However, price is not right. Price. I believe if I buy BMW, I pay BMW price and I receive BMW quality. No disrespect. If I buy Kia, I pay Kia price and I receive Kia quality. Lexus is same. Lexus price, Lexus quality. But that Kininvi you talking about, that's a BMW price and maybe Nissan Micra quality to me. Yeah. So price and the quality need to be balanced. So I think Highlander Inn bottling overall, it's not cheapest product on the market, but I'm always looking at price and the quality need to be balanced. So to be honest, some bottling, let's say this is trade secret. If it's Chichibu, bottled for Highlander Inn, makes good profit because people are happy to pay 200 something pound for Chichibu, but actually cost for us, Ichiro, a good friend of mine, very reasonable. Yeah. However, some bottling you guys took, Ohen Toshan, 26 years old last year before, 2023, that bottling wasn't cheap, but also we only made a very small profit because that Ohen Toshan, I cannot sell the stuff here, 400 pound a bottle, 500. So I maximize the profit, but still we only made tiny profit. That's fine. Selling whiskey is not our main business. Main business is serving fish and chips and pour a pint. That's we make money.
Well, I can say
Yeah.
the fried chicken bites are definitely definitely equally as good. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it is that balance between like bottling whiskey that you love and you want to release, but also like, you can't take a financial hit every time. So it's
Yeah.
always tricky. But yeah. Loving some of the tasting notes on this whiskey, guys. The musk almost makes you miss the after flavors getting chamomile as it lingers in my mouth. Chamomile is definitely a good one. Patrick's getting strawberry jam spread very thin on a biscuit. Interesting.
Mm,
Uh, but yeah,
wow.
definitely.
I wish I can taste the water of life with you tonight or this morning, still morning here. Yeah, but I remember that's fantastic whiskey. I
Yeah.
remember the lady, good friend of mine, the people who are selling cask came to see me office, or maybe not to see office during a lockdown. I can't remember, maybe before lockdown. So anyway, she said to me, I send you sample blended malt. I said, no disrespect for blended malt. No, that's not, I'm asking you. I asked this sample. No blended malt. But once I tasted, wow, this is good. So I don't have any, kind of ignorance or some how to say some people automatically think young whiskey is not tasty or some very unknown distillery or that's not good. On the other hand, many people think, oh wow, Springbank, I want to taste. Or oh wow, Macallan. So people actually quickly make a decision. Some distillery is good whiskey, tasty, and some distillery not so good. Yeah. So one
Mm.
whiskey, one cask I purchased recently, Taribardin again, younger, 18 years old, Taribardin. I think Taribardin. Who's gonna take Taribardin? But honest, tastes like a melon juice. Yeah.
Oh, Chris and I made the exact same face, so that's probably code for we'll take it.
Oh wow. Okay. If some other market declined, yeah, maybe another one for Australia.
I'm sure you got
Yeah.
plenty of amazing markets for it to go to. Yeah, Chris, where is that going? Can we have some? All right. Well, I wasn't making assumptions. The backing of the boss, but we'll move on from obviously the blended malt to this is just a regular blended whiskey. It's got grain component in it as well with the Oishii 43.
Oishii 43. Yep, that's yeah, 43 years old blended whiskey. So as Emma said, it's grain whiskey inside. And this is we started 2015. We release every year. This is 2024 version. And I started working on 2025 version. I don't know, maybe talk later. Yeah. And this is Oishii whiskey, 43 years old. This is oldest Oishii whiskey we ever done. Started from 36 years old. We did a couple 36, then move on to 38. We did 27 as well. So this is oldest. I don't know how far I can go. One day, if liquid is good, I want to do Oishii whiskey 50. Yeah. So yeah, so as first three whiskey, all light metal and very subtle character, but this is became more like a old fashioned. Now I'm using the Glen can glass, but this is a whiskey use the old fashioned glass, stuff you normally use for old fashioned, or if you watch old Sean Connery 007 film, substantial big old-fashioned glass suits the style because originally we created this whiskey that time 2025 still many people talk about still people does mango tropical fruits or tropical fruits was quite trendy just about 10 years ago and the people forgot about sherry or those what whiskey used to taste like when I was early 20s or some market that time still really, really loved sherry style whiskey. But I don't know, people's trend palette move on to tropical fruits, lighter style of spirits, which is I also enjoy, but this is very old fashioned. Let's taste.
Mm. I have such a love for like those older styles of blended whiskey. And you're right, it's this it's gonna sound terrible, but it's like leather boots,
Mm-hmm.
like just dirty leather boots, like old leather. And I love leather and wool and all of those natural kind of fibers and stuff. And for me, a lot of those old sherries, yeah, John's got it, old leather couch. A lot of those old, predominantly sherry
Yeah,
cask blends just
we,
have that leathery quality that's incredible.
we don't eat leather and we
No,
don't eat
no,
antique chair or antique desk, but like a smell of taste of antique, like a chair or antique furniture kind of
yeah. When
character.
you walk into one of those antique shops or those like specialty furniture shops, and you're like,
Yeah.
smells like old things and old people, and just I don't know how this is good, but I like it.
Mhm. And the component of the liquid is obviously malt and grain. Malt predominantly using Edrington stock, Glengoyne, Glenrothes, Tamdu, Highland Park, Glen Turret, and possibly quite a large portion of Macallan. And of course, Glen whiskey, which is North British. And many people say, oh, wow, this is tasty. Tatsuya, did you blend it? I said, no, I didn't. I'm not that smart. So this is a pre-blended cask. So this is distilled 80s and that era, whole whiskey industry driven by blended whiskey. So that time, Highland distilleries, Highland distillers, they are planning to release this whiskey for future other deluxe blended or 25 years old exclusive something so on so on so. However, trend move on from blended to single malt. So this whiskey like this, actually they don't know how to use it. So I've got offer and still I can access to same broker or using different broker. As I said, I didn't blend it, but I selected this cask from many samples. And to be honest, all good, all very tasty. But from the all tasty casks, we selected, we believe, best of the best. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it. It's incredible. I know Chris couldn't stop talking about it all last year. He loved it. Everyone in the chat seems to be enjoying it. Patrick says, the Finnish dances around as it transitions, but it's sort of it's a waltz, so like a lovely slow dance. Michael K. Velvety with an aged honey and dried citrus flavor. Definitely that really deep, rich ironbark aged honey
Mm.
kind of tone. Brendan says it drinks so well, but hard to pinpoint specific notes. And yeah, John's Old Leather Couch and Patrick's Old Library. Michael S. Amazing, well balanced, dry finish. Yeah,
Right.
it's one of those things as well that are there I know that you've done other blended single cask where it was blended before it went into
Uh-huh.
barrel. I know
Uh-huh.
you've done a couple others. Is there kind of a broader, is there more casks potentially that we'll see in the future?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear, someone interrupting.
Yeah. 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 Anyway. Yeah.
It's
So
the upsides and the downsides of operating a business, and obviously we caught you in the morning, so I'm sure
yeah,
it's a busy
yeah.
time. So, but yeah.
So I'm actually currently working on next Oishii Whiskey 2025. As I talk about whiskey number one, when I talked about the world whiskey scene or demand is slowed down, used to be older whiskey, expensive whiskey. I didn't sell it, but some market, such as Chinese market, very lively, used to be, but now they don't have money. So whole whiskey industry slowed down. Many distillery cut off production. I don't know what's going to happen next 3 years. So when I'm working on next Oishii whiskey, I'm thinking I still can access to similar age, possibly 44 years old for 2025, but maybe see the market. Maybe I go for younger, still need to be tasty, but younger and more even more affordable bottling. And started thinking maybe we did the whole Oishii whiskey range used to be sherry, except Glen whiskey, but maybe first time switch to possibly bourbon barrel or bourbon hogshead or more smoky element, smoky influence. So I don't know. I need to still look for. Yeah.
No. Well, I'm sure we'll all be waiting, twiddling, waiting for that bottling to come around, and hopefully we'll definitely get some in Australia. But we might move on to whiskey number 5. And you were saying
Oh,
before as well that Ichiro Okuto is a good friend of yours. So I imagine you do a lot of bottlings. I know that I tried a Chichibu bottling when I was there, and it was beyond
yeah.
delightful. It was one of the best Chichibus I've ever had. So I'm interested to hear about this collaboration series that you're doing.
It's a Glenfarclas, Chichibu, Glenfarclas,
Yeah, the
is that
108.
108? Yeah, I thought, yeah. Well, yeah, I thought Chichibu. Yeah,
No,
this
no, no.
this one here, yeah, as a Glenfarclas 108, and we bottled for 5th anniversary of Highlander in Chichibu. Yeah, yeah, we have bottled Glenfarclas before, but this is different one. And this is first fill sherry, but doesn't specify what type of sherry. I'm sure Oloroso. Yeah. And age-wise, still just 10 years old. Let me have a look. This doesn't
I've
say.
got 12. I've got 12
Oh,
years old
12,
on
yeah.
my little label, but we've
Yeah,
made
this,
typos before.
not 12, I distilled 2012 and bottled last year, 2024, 61.6%, which is 12 years old. Their warehouse in Glenfarclas, far as I know, they are all damaged warehouse, old fashioned. some big company, Diageo, Pernod Ricard, they use a big lacking warehouse, which is bad and good. But traditional way is tonnage, which is maybe the underneath, the ground is soil, it's not concrete. So still, there's a lot of moist coming through from the ground. And the highest layer is maybe third, three, bottom one, middle one, top one. They don't go too far. But instead, lacking warehouse, a big, massive modern warehouse from bottom of the cask up to top, maybe 10 different stories. So whiskey takes 10, 15, 20 years to make. So those long periods, if it's lacking warehouse, quality of the liquid, very bottom of the cask, and the cask close to the tin roof, 10 years time, 20 years time makes big, big difference. So cask close to the tin roof, top of the layer, top stories, dry, kind of warm environment, maybe lose a lot of liquid and alcohol. Instead, maturation goes to faster. So I do like the kind of whiskey, but this is actually traditional way. Even 12 years later, they lost strength only 1.9. Surely this era, 2012, Glenfarclas used to fill cask 63.5. Even 12 years later, they don't lose even 2%. So I guess must be this cask actually located close to the soil and also middle of the warehouse. Yeah, very wet, moist environment.
Yeah, it's it's big and it's bold. I will say the 105 Glenfarclases are usually my favorites. And they're also, I believe the 105 is the only Glenfarclas that they don't chill filter. So everything else in the core Glenfarclas range is chill filtered,
Mm-hmm.
which is a bit sad. So it's nice to be able to taste this like really big, robust, young but old
Did,
school Glenfarclas
mm-hmm.
profile.
Yeah, this is kind of, it is different, age is different, taste different, but you can see this whiskey number 4, Oishii whiskey we tasted, and this is Glenfarclas 108, as a, both like an old-fashioned style whiskey, more like I know you guys summertime in Australia just now. This is sort of like a winter drum.
Well, we're supposed to be
Yeah.
getting into winter, but it hasn't hit yet. It's still been sunny and lovely, so
Oh,
we're
is that
hoping
right?
that the weather stays nice, but it should be getting cold and rainy any day now. But yeah, it's so cool. I got like a big whack of like strawberry jam, like really rich strawberry jam,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of kind of like fortified wine. I was recently pouring some Australian whiskey that where they make at the winery a fortified wine, and it's got a lot of those like really like raisin, grapey kind of musket notes to it as well. Yeah, it's super cool.
Mm. Many Glenfarclas stars. I don't know where this character comes from. It's I don't know how many people get. I'm not saying I'm right. Just always Glenfarclas. Most of them has got mint kind of character.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a it's got this fisherman's friend kind of really strong
Mm.
back note in like the far back of your palate. Um, that
This
just
is
kind of
sherry.
brightens up. Yeah.
Sometimes available American white oak matured Glenfarclas. So more mint. It's not come from the cask. Must be
Mm.
spirit's character.
Mm,
Very distinctive.
100%. It's really interesting. I actually got the chance to meet George Grant, who's the um owner or soon to be owner of Glenfarclas. And it was so interesting. He was like, we don't we don't use American oak. We don't have any whiskey in American oak. And it's like, but I've had three. Like, what are you talking about?
He
So
doesn't know
he's
the business.
well, I think it's obviously the brand is so involved in sherry cask and is so well known for sherry cask, and this is such a great example of that. I mean, I love the tasting notes. Brendan's spice, wood jam. Patrick's getting baking spices, cloves, cinnamon, allspice. Allspice is a good one. Michael, it's super
Right.
bold with a warm spice and bitterness. Jason's getting baked apple pie on the nose. John's getting jammy stone fruit pie. Can't place the exact flavor. Yeah, it's kind of like an American cherry pie almost. It's like it's not a cherry.
Mhm.
American cherry is like a whole other world, I think. But yeah, super, super cool. Super, super interesting. Mm. So this is bottled for the Highlander Inn location in
I don't,
Chichibu. Yeah.
yeah, their fifth anniversary. Yeah, that's good. Mm. Yeah,
Um, yeah, so obviously if you guys do ever go to Japan and you go to Chichibu to visit Chichibu Distillery, you know where to stay.
yeah.
I'm flooding
Mm.
in my head. My dad wants to go to Japan, and so I'm like, oh, okay. I'm trying to work out how I can get there. So very, very fun. Well, we'll move on to the last whiskey of tonight, which is also a Chichibu Highlander Inn series bottling.
Yeah,
Uh the Ardbeg, which I'm super, super excited about. Quite a young
yeah,
Ardbeg, I would probably say, like
yeah,
comparative
yeah.
to even other indie bottlings I've seen.
How young is it, Emma? I can't remember.
It's 6 years old.
6 years old. Yeah. This, the Chichibu, this Glenfarclas, this is an annual thing. No, they call anniversary bottling, like a first year, second year, third year. They do bottling for celebrating their business. So, yeah, so 6 years bottling coming this September. But only one bottling a year is not enough. So they created another one called Osampo series, like a go for walk, go for walk series. Osampo is go for walk. That's why label is somebody walking somewhere, middle of nowhere. So we selected Young Ardbeg for first release. Used to be Ardbeg is quite hard spirits to get from supplier or broker. Now I've got few offer. Also, I've got few bottle. Somebody bottled young Ardbeg, but most of them cannot name Ardbeg, Dalton or Secret Isla. So this Secret Isla, 6 years old, also same story, cannot mention the name, but people know. And once you taste, you can tell immediately. Yeah, very smoky and almost like a kind of licking ashtray kind of flavor. Emma, have you got any information? Is a second fill or first fill on the
I
label?
don't have any information. I mean, that's kind of the downside of I taste these at the same time everybody else does.
Right.
So I only get whatever info. Maybe Chris can pop in the chat if he knows. But this is so sweet on the nose. It's just
Right.
like barley sugar. Brendan's getting Werther's original, and like everyone's like, ooh, ooh, hello. Brad, diabetes. Yes, absolutely. Like it is so sugary sweet on the nose. I would say that I wouldn't expect it from an Ardbeg, but now that I've been to the distillery, it definitely is there. My love for Ardbeg is coming in now that I've been to the distillery and I've tasted uh, a wider variety and seen how they produce it. But yeah, it's so sweet. But you're right, it is that like really ashtray kind of vibe on the palate.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. I think that Ardbeg is similar to a lot of the heavy peat ones where that younger character is like
Yeah.
surprisingly sweet. Like I think of young Kaolila as well. It's just so sugary and sweet. Um, But
I think
yeah,
I
I have.
think in the case maybe this cask I can't remember. I tasted. I don't have with me here. Must be fast to fill.
Mm,
But barrel was it? No hogshead. I can't
possibly.
know.
I think Chris is going to
Yeah.
have a look at it.
I cannot remember all.
But yeah, it's interesting as well because I haven't seen a lot of independent bottlings of Ardbeg that are this young. Typically, when I see IBs of Ardbeg, it's like 11 years old, 14 years
Right.
old, that kind of range. Like, how how on earth did you get your hands on such a young Ardbeg?
Well, I think used to be 5 years ago. Even doesn't matter. But Ardbeg, no tasty Ardbeg. Once mentioned, this is Ardbeg, but you cannot name Ardbeg. You need to put secret Ira. People used to grab. Oh wow, Ardbeg, so rare. But market changing slightly, so quite a lot of Ardbeg available. I've got a few offers. So, but need to see price and quality first. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, and to me, like Ira whiskey is, I know, living Speyside, not everyone's favorite, to be honest. Yeah. I'm talking about local. Yeah, living Speyside, local people, 90% of people, they don't drink smoky stuff. But if I go to Islay, I like those people from Islay. They don't touch any whiskey from mainland. They think whiskey is only from Islay. Go to some bar on Islay. Yeah, they don't stock Macallan or whiskey from mainland. That's weird.
yeah,
But in a
it's
Highlander,
so
we stock
funny.
everything. Yeah, we stock both whiskey, Speyside, Ira, and even Japanese.
No, I love it. Chris has just confirmed it's a hogshead cask, is all it says on the
Ah,
bottle. So, but yeah, oh, that's probably one of my favorite Ardbegs I've ever had. I love the tasting notes. Patrick's getting saltine crackers with cigarette ash and treacle sprinkle. Saltines are like Ritz crackers here, pretty much.
right,
Michael is getting ashtray, grilled pineapple, cracked pepper. Weirdest description ever. But I feel like it's definitely a good thing, and I'm seeing nonsense. It's a good thing.
right.
Um, but yeah, absolutely incredible. I'm gonna run the poll. So I'm really curious. Everything has been so phenomenally stand out. So I'm gonna launch the poll. Now, so you and I can see how the results come in, so don't spoil anything until the end. Um,
Okay, okay.
but yeah, I mean, that Ardbeg really took me by
Oh,
surprise. I really liked that. But unfortunately, we don't have like a
oh.
regular sale of bottlings tonight. But if there is anything you are particularly after, I have been informed by Ollie that you should email Chris. So
Okay, yeah.
Chris in the chat, send him an email and we'll see what we can do. Um, yeah, Howard.
Wow.
Ollie's definitely handballed it off to Chris on this occasion. This is it's his fault for showing up to a virtual tasting. So,
Mm.
yeah, oh, this is very exciting. It's so exciting, isn't it, Tatsuya? It's like watching greyhound racing or horse racing. Seeing which whiskey can get
Yeah,
front.
yeah.
It is so so good. I think yeah. All right. Think maybe there's one more person, and then I will close the poll and we
Yeah.
will see what the winner of the night is.
The two joint winner, is it?
Two joint winner, yeah. I think honestly, this is a really great spread. So drum roll and the Glengarry and the Oishii
Yeah.
43 absolutely took it out in the lead. But honestly, it's like a fairly even result for everything else. Maybe like a little bit less love for the Water of Life, but that's like such an incredible like spread of votes.
Yeah.
Normally like you get a lot of drop off for the first whiskey, but that Glen Grant was gorgeous. So it really held its own. So um, yeah, and like Patrick said, something appealing to everybody tonight, which is absolutely what we love to see. So, um, officially, that is the end of the tasting. Thank you so much, Tetsuya, for sharing your afternoon with us, for sharing your wisdom with us. And thank you all for joining online tonight. I'm sure we will see another batch of Highlander Inn coming into Australia soon enough. I see Chris
Yeah.
nodding. Yep, that sounds about right. But yeah, so officially, thank you everyone, and we'll see you at the next virtual tasting. Take care.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.